you go. Make sure try to like every like emergency so I don't know.
Every single thing on that list, of course, but we usually have some pretty good luck out here. So if you do plan on taking photos, you should have those. Bongos are called the ghosts of the forest. This is because of how good they are at camouflaging with their surroundings. You can see one in the back there scratching an itch with their horns on their head. Those horns are nice and short and slicked back. That way they don't get caught in anything while they're walking around out here. And like I said, that stripe pattern makes them almost invisible. That's how they get that nickname, the ghosts of the forest. Now I thought I saw something moving around of the giraffe. You can see them on your spotting guide a lot better. Almost looks like a miniature giraffe to grab onto their food. Now here on the right, we're going to see a greater kudu. The greater kudu is an antelope species. They also have those stripes to help them blend in with their surroundings. And that is a female kudu as well as this one. You can tell because the male of their species has huge. Black rhinos like this one can weigh up to 3,000 pounds, and they have that wide or a very rounded facial structure. That's how we know it's a black rhino. He actually has a prehensile upper lip. You might see that upper lip move around a little bit. These are called saddle-billed storks. Saddle-billed storks can stand at about 5 feet tall, and their wings, when they're spread out, are about 9 feet in length. They also use that bright orange cool to cool ourselves off. But a lot of animals will use water as well, whether that's cooling them. Now, the Nile hippopotamus looks a little bit like a rock when they sleep. You can see their back sticking up there. They almost look like gigantic rocks. They do have their eyes, ears, and nose on top of their head. That way they can breathe, see, and even hear while they are sleeping underneath the water. Now, these animals are nocturnal animals, which is why they are asleep right now, as opposed to animals like the greater kudu we just saw that are more awake during the day. They'll sleep pretty much all mating season. During mating season, they have a very bright shade of pink skin underneath their feathers. So that's how they got their nickname, the pinkbacks pelicans. These animals travel in very large flocks. They're also colonial of water. They can also run about 20 miles per hour on land, but underwater, they're just way back there on our right-hand side. Might be a little bit difficult to see, but he's right next to that group of wildebeest sitting down in the back corner there as well. Wildebeest are really good friends of the giraffe because they are so small and so vulnerable. Giraffes are very good at letting them know there could be something dangerous nearby. Giraffes are really, really tall, so they can see gigantic horns. These are the horns of the Ankoli cattle. Now, all three of these ones are female Ankoli cattle. If you look a little further, you'll see their male counterpart way out there on the right. Those horns can get about 6 feet wide on the male Ankoli cattle, and the inside of them has a honeycomb-like structure. So they're very light in weight. You can kind of see them tilt their heads back and forth pretty quickly. African wild dogs are exactly what they sound like. They are wild dogs. At home we have domesticated dogs, of course. These African wild dogs are one of the most successful pack hunters in the world. They have about an 80% success rate in tracking down their prey, just because they're good stamina. Sable antelope is the icon of the Harambe Wildlife Preserve. You may have seen it while walking through the line today. Now, these zebras are a family, like I said. We got Dad right next to us here, and then his 2 kids next to him. Now, memorize those stripe patterns real quick. Take a look at their back sides. You can see those stripes. You'll notice they're very similar to their mothers over here on our left. And she also has her new baby boy that she just had about a month and a half ago. This cute little guy, he's taking a nice little nap right now. See if I can get you a better angle on him. Now look at his legs. You'll see those legs are really, really long, but his body's really, really small. That's because when they're first born, they actually have the longest legs they will ever have their entire life, but their bodies are so small, it looks really awkward looking. They pretty much stay standing all day long, only sit down for very small amounts of time. But when they do, they like to be surrounded by other giraffes to make sure they stay nice and protected out here. They're not in danger of any predatory animals running around. Now we are going to see some smaller giraffes coming up here in just a second over here. They're actually 2 of the youngest giraffes that live out here. They were both born about so we're going to see those in just a second here. We're also going to see one of the smallest antelope species. The springbok stands about 3 feet tall, making them one of the smallest antelope species in the world. For some perspective, that's the largest antelope species in the world there on the right. He's about 1,000 pounds, called the Patterson's eland. He's also my personal favorite animal. He likes to dress up his horns sometimes, kind of like wearing a funny hat or having some dreadlocks. He does that to impress the female elands during mating seasons. Fun little mating ritual, and he looks very cute when he has them on. Now this giraffe here on the right with the darker, a little bit, probably less than a year old, like I said. He's probably about 8 or 9 feet tall at this point, though, so definitely taller than everyone on this truck, but a little bit taller than or a little bit smaller than her brothers and sisters run around. You will see a full-grown giraffe staring right back at those long prehensile tongues of the giraffe can get up to 18 inches in length. You'll see her kind of moving that tongue around a little bit. Sometimes they pick their nose with it, or sometimes they look all the way up to their eyeball if they got an inch up there. Now we'll get one last leave. The one dark giraffe in the back corner here is the mother of that baby giraffe right there we're seeing. Now unfortunately for baby giraffes, female giraffes are so tiny. Look at her jump right there in the middle. That's such a good look at her. Look at her go. Now these mandrills are a terrestrial monkey species. They're very, very small. The females are. The male mandrill is actually the largest monkey species in the world. Oh, look at her hop. That's so cute. She was born a few months ago. So a very young baby girl. And then right next to her is her older sister. You can see them running around. And these are all female mandrills. Female mandrills typically weigh about... Now this one on the right, these are two female elephants. You'll see the one on the left there. She has only one tusk. That's unfortunately because she had her right one cracked when she was a kid. Unfortunately, these elephants can lose their tusks, or they can get them damaged a little bit there. So that's why she only has one. And the thickness of a tusk is a good way to tell how old they are, though. She's one of the oldest female elephants that lives out here. She's probably in her 40s or maybe her 50s. These elephants can live. We can get a good look at her grabbing some of that stuff with her trunk. If you look at the end of her trunk, you'll see she has a little finger there. That finger will help them grab onto the different objects. Probably get a pretty good tail wagging around, those big ears flapping back and forth. The inside of those ears are covered in blood vessels. So when they flap them back and forth like that, that's how they cool themselves off. They can usually lower their body temperature by about 15 degrees by flapping those ears. It's actually her daughter right next to her. Now how can we tell this? We already talked a little bit about it. It's their tusks. You can see the one next to us has gigantic, very thick tusks, and the one next to her almost looks like a little toothpick sticking out right there. She's a lot skinnier, and she's a little bit smaller than her mother right there. She's kind of a teenage elephant, probably around 16 years old or so. It takes about 16 years old to reach that adulthood phase, and she's pretty close to that right there, as you can see. Oh, she's going to reach her trunk up to grab something there. Take a look at how long and how strong those trunks are. Those trunks actually have more muscles in them than our entire human bodies have. So they're very, very strong. You can do a lot of different things with those long and strong trunks of theirs. So, and then right in the back corner over here, she's about 5 years old, so not really a baby anymore, more of a toddler elephant. But you can tell how cute, she's still a little bit smaller than the other elephants walking around out here. Now she has very tiny little tusks as well, but like I said, she's about 5 years old, kind of like that toddler phase of childhood. And look at their feet, we're going to see some of their babies, they're just starting to hatch. And those little baby flamingos are gray in color, and if you look at their wings, that's my favorite part about them. They're tiny little wings that like to flap back and forth out there. Now you'll notice something about these baby flamingos. They are not pink like their mothers and fathers next to them. They're actually gray in color. Now they are all born like this. All of these pink flamingos started their lives off as these little gray fuzzballs. But as they grow older, they eat so much brine shrimp that they start to turn their feathers pink as they grow older. Brine shrimp has a lot of carrots. Directly to the left, draw a straight line there. At the base of that tree, you might see some ears flapping back and forth. That is the ear of a cheetah. Now cheetahs do tame right in the open. That's a lot better. Now that cheetah right there in the middle of the trees, and there's another one walking along the tree line back there. These cheetahs, of course, are really good at camouflaging, as we just saw, but they are known for their speed. They can go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 3 seconds, which is very impressive. It could very easily catch up to any one of us on this. One of the bushes right there, you can kind of see its eyes staring back at us. Waterbuck, of course, are adorable little animals. They have cute sitting down out there. Hopefully we'll get a better look at them in a second, but you can kind of see way off in the distance, sleeping in the bushes back there. White rhinos are, like I said, a little bit bigger than the black rhino. At about 5,000, like the okapi is the only relative of the giraffe, this guy's the only relative of the wildebeest. And we'll also get another look at those white rhinos there in the back corner. You can kind of see them sleeping back there, taking a very nice nap in the shade. Our beloved Nigerian dwarf goats, nice and safe out here. Oh, they knocked over the barrel, that's so cute. Now these little guys, they stand about 2 feet tall, and they are little troublemakers. You can see their big bellies sticking out there. It's not because they're really full or they've eaten too much to gain a lot of weight. It's actually because they have a multi-chambered stomach. That multi-chambered stomach, similar to the giraffes, helps them digest pretty much anything they get their mouths around. So they'll eat a lot of harmful animals like reptiles and frogs and lizards, things like that. All sorts of different animals there.